Okay, welcome back, folks. So in this match, we're going to take a look at the game against Red Sun, and compared to the other games that we've played before, we kind of know what it is that we're doing and what it is that we're supposed to do. So this match, it is pretty prolonged. It's a very slow, methodical battle, and it just comes down to who can supply and cycle the units faster. That basically is what's going to decide the game. So opening deployment plans here, we're committing all our armor from our reserves onto the front line. We've peeled off all the units that the armor is replacing, all the light units, and they're getting put onto our cities. We're boosting our economy. So we have both players fully boosting their economies, fully maximizing the deployment of their armor on the planes. And yeah, the Sitzkrieg begins. So I have an advantage in the south. I've got 2 tanks to none on the plains, so I initiate the attack first. We get a couple of attacks. Once the morale starts to deplete, we pull them back. Try to get a mismatch here and there, 2-on-1. It's not that possible because it's fairly even across the whole front line. Now he counterattacks on the north side there. And now I'm cycling units from the cities, replenish the units that are being depleted by his tank pushes. He's trying to do the same. Now he's doubling up here. So this is just like a very, very slight mistake. Like it's not really that important because I have my own light infantry that's in like reserve here. But you see, because of how far it is, once we initiate the combat, the depletion rates of the morale bars go by like really fast. Right, so you gotta like keep on cycling. It's really really fast paced when it comes down to like the individual micro, which I haven't focused much on the channel before because I've always told everyone, if you're new to the game, focus on the big picture stuff. So boosting economy and then cycling from the cities to the front line and keeping a reserve. Now when we're coming to like the individual small tiny micro maneuvers here, this is where it comes down to skill and experience really. You get the timing right so that you know when to zoom into the back, because I'm usually trying to micro at like this level here of zoom. Then you got to zoom back out and then pull in the guys from like the reserves from the cities and then cycle them back and forth. So there's like 2 sets of cycling going on. You've got the reserve cycling where, this unit here where my cursor is, that's like a reserve unit. So he's right next to the front line and he's not being pulled back because his health at the time was still full. So we're only cycling his morale. But for other units that we're pulling all the way back, like these guys, we're cycling them back to the cities to replenish their health. So you see there's like 2 sets of cycling that's going on here. So we're doing that, and we're managing all this. And what's usually typical is that once a battle is like begun in one sector of the battlefield, then the rest of the battlefield doesn't get played. That's just normal War of Dots, unless you've seen my previous game where it was the Schlieffen Plan 2.0. Now that's an exception, right? That is a game where it's not normal. The entire map for that whole game was played, and like there was blunders on both sides because both players in that game, myself and my opponent, we're not like 500 APM StarCraft 2 players. So we weren't handling all the micros at all the places. So there were like miniature blunders and encirclements that were happening all over the map. But it had to be done because of the way that the game opened up. It was like super high stakes. So games like that are the exception and are rare. Unless you're playing like 2 noobs playing against each other and they don't know what they're doing, then you get also fast-paced battles and maneuvers across the whole map like that. But once you get 2 competent players going up against each other, this is basically how the game goes. It's very very slow and very very methodical on the front line, and it just comes down to who can cycle which one faster and better. So like this guy right here, I wouldn't be putting him because he's already like half health. This is a guy that needs to be cycled to a city. This is not a guy that should be cycled into the reserves. And these other guys here, they need to be pulled back to the cities. Whereas you see here, right, this is how my cycling is going, is that if it's full strength, they're reserve units. And if they're not full strength, then they're going back to the cities. My production right now is about, we're going 3 tanks, and I think I built 1 light. Actually, no, I think I just built the 3 tanks. That's about it. So I just went full armor because why not? It's a full opens plain, and even once we get the breakthrough, by the time we get to his rear cities, it's just forest, and the forests aren't like that deep I mean, his cities aren't that deep in the forest, so there's still a lot of plains to maneuver. So I'm quite happy just going with the full tank build. Now, more cycling. Uh, yeah, now that I'm cycling so many units, there's a couple of like very minor misplays going on. There's a couple of units that should be pulled out already once the morale bars are depleted. But it is what it is. This is as fast as my hands can go for this game. So there's that. Now we've got see a mismatch here. Our tank was about half morale, half health. So we had doubled his health, and now we're just straight up winning that tank battle right there. Now, more cycling going on. Southern flank depleted. Here come the extra reserves from the rear cities. They're coming back in. This city here is clutch, but you have to be careful when you're trying to cycle the armor to replenish the health in the city. You've got to come in at an angle because you don't want to go across the hills. It'll slow down the tanks. Because it's a plains map, we can afford to cycle the tanks all the way to these rear cities at the front, at the back on the northern side. Usually on normal maps, there's like going to be a lot of terrain, and I think that this map favors my side. Come to think of it, because of these forests here, they slow down any cycling that happens if you're trying to cycle the tanks back to the city. So yeah, that's a pretty big strategic disadvantage. Not a quite a fair map. Yeah. I guess the only other way if I was like playing on red side would have been to just pull back the front line all the way to the forest and then just play an infantry game. That's an idea to keep in mind. So now you can see that just looking at bars alone, his entire front is completely weakened. There's not much you can do here. We've already won the war of attrition. And you can see the casualty rates here with 30,000 plus difference in terms of troops. Well, that's actually a lot of troops that we have now. And now we're about to force the breakthrough here. I get a tank that's basically encircled. It's not like out of supply, but I can't maneuver him because we've got 4 units pinning him, and I've got my own units in the rear that's preventing him from getting out. So at this point, I figured, okay, we're fully committed because I don't want to lose this tank for no reason. We're just gonna commit everything that we have and then go in and blast him. And he survives. We managed to clutch this tank out of here by killing everyone before they kill our tank. So we get small mine encircling. There we go. He's free. Run, Forest. And yeah, that's basically it. That's how it came down. Yep. Now we got the breakthrough, numerical advantage. Now we've got to secure one of these cities. So we're gonna focus on the southernmost city and then switch over to the southeastmost city. And we've got to be careful we don't get encircled. So we're keeping larger units in the rear here. He makes a blunder, he gives up the city, I take it once he does that. And that's it. That's basically the collapse of his whole front line. And yeah, I'm at max replay speed, but there's not much he can do. And yeah, he capitulates there. So yeah, that's War of Dots. This is what a close game kind of looks like, where it's very slow, methodical, and it comes down to just cycling, supply, and logistics. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.